Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit deal 432 to 202, Labour leader Corbyn seeks vote of no confidence.
On business news tonight, global stock markets rally as crude oil prices surge on signs of lower US oil stocks and possible economic stimulus in China.
And in sports news, Tottenham Hotspur striker Harry Kane is out until March with an ankle injury.
And from Abuja, ahead of the general elections, some political parties spell out their anti-corruption plans at a presidential debate organized by the Center for Democracy and Development.
President Muhammadu Buhari today led service chiefs and leaders of the National Assembly to lay wreaths at the tomb of the unknown soldier at the National Arcade in Abuja. The occasion was a Nigerian Armed Forces Remembrance Day, celebrated every January the 15th in honor of members of the armed services who died during military operations. Others who laid wreaths include the Minister of Defense, Minister of the FCT, and the Embattled Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onoge. Our correspondent Ibrahim Adra reports. We'll bring you more about what transpired at the wreath-laying ceremony in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, Armed Forces Day celebrations were marked in various states in northern parts of the country, with many of the governors paying tribute to the military and fallen soldiers. Some widows of the fallen soldiers also appealed to the government to pay up their outstanding gratuities to enable them carry on with their lives.
Governor Tanko Almakura laying the wreath in Lafia as part of activities to mark the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Governor Almakura urges Nigerians to intensify prayers in order to entrench peace and unity.
I'm calling on all and sundry to continue to pray for these fallen heroes who have sacrificed their lives, their health, and virtually everything they have for the sake of this country and for the sake of all of us. We should continue to pray for the unity, stability, and peace of this country. We should fervently pray today and always.
In Katsina State, the state government pledges to continue to provide necessary support to members of the armed forces while carrying out their duties. The State Commissioner for Sports, Youth and Social Development represented Governor Aminu Masari at the ceremony held at the Military Cenotaph, Jibia Road, Katsina.
I want to assure you that Katsina State Government will continue to do all within its resources to ensure that it provides the necessary support to members of the armed forces while they carry out their duties.
In Kaduna State, Governor Nasir El-Rufai commends the sacrifices being made by men of the Nigerian Armed Forces in preserving the unity and sovereignty of the country. The governor says the Remembrance Day celebration is a sad reminder of those who laid their lives for their fatherland and also those who made selfless sacrifices for the people.
this is a very important and solemn day for which we observe and appreciate our armed forces and security agencies for their sacrifices, because they stay up at night, they sacrifice their lives so that we can sleep well at night, and that is a major thing that we should all be grateful to the armed forces and the security agencies for. Our state government has been engaging with them, and whatever we can do to support the efforts of the federal government will do so.
In Sokoto State, northwest Nigeria, Governor Aminu Tambuwal eulogizes the fallen soldiers while admonishing the security agencies to improve their strategies.
There is a need for the security agencies to actually up their game, up their ante. And then there is a need for all of us to support them and provide information whenever and wherever there is a pendency of this kind of attacks.
In Kogi State, Governor Yahaya Bello appeals to Nigerians to be patient with the military, as the government is doing all it can to ensure that they continue to protect the territorial integrity of the country.
I am assuring you that the Nigerian Army, Mr. President, is buying and equipping the Nigerian Armed Forces to the best of its ability, and by the grace of God, the loss of lives of our men in war front will be a thing of the past.
January the 15th every year is set aside to honor officers and men of the Nigerian Armed Forces who paid the supreme price to protect the country.
Let's bring you a bit more now about what transpired as the President today led service chiefs and leaders of the National Assembly to lay wreaths at the tomb of the unknown soldier at the National Arcade in Abuja.
It's an annual event characterized by military drills and precision. It is colorful yet solemn. Dignitaries turn out in their numbers. And President Muhammadu Buhari is the last to arrive at the venue. He proceeds to inspect a military parade.
And secondly, it is symbolically ends the activities of the day. Another military custom that will be observed today will be the gun salute.
Other dignitaries include the Vice President, the Senate President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Chief Justice of Nigeria. President Buhari took the lead in the traditional wreath-laying ceremony. There were volleys of shots, a salute to the fallen heroes, a revered honor in the military circle. A minute's silence was observed, after which President Buhari signed the register. He also set free doves, symbolizing peace, a commodity that is desired in earnest for the successful conduct of the general elections scheduled for February. Other dignitaries that turned out for this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day include ministers, government officials, and members of a diplomatic community.
And still on Armed Forces Remembrance Day, but this time in the south, where state governors in the southern part of the country also paid tribute to the country's fallen heroes. Some of the retired servicemen also asked for more support from the state government.
Dr. Alex Sekweme Square, Oka, Anambra State stands still for the fallen heroes. Governor Willie Obiano leads the state to pay the annual tribute to the gallant officers. He inspects the guard of honor alongside other dignitaries before laying the wreath as the doves of peace are let out.
This is a day we remember our fallen heroes, the people that put their lives on the line so that we may live.
military and paramilitary officers in a colourful regalia. Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi leads other dignitaries to lay the wreaths. It's a similar situation in Imo State as a ceremonial gun salute goes up for the departed heroes. Governor Rochas Okorocha commends the Nigerian military for the continuous fight against insurgency in the northeast and the sacrifice shown towards the unity of the country. In the neighboring South-South region and River State, Governor Nyesom Wike doles out 100 million naira to the legions in the spirit of the celebration.
We must come to terms with the fact that we're a nation still at war with the resurgent Boko Haram and other armed bandits across several states in the northern parts of the country. The federal government therefore needs to do something more pragmatic to boost the morale of our troops, reverse the embarrassing setbacks, and defeat Boko Haram.
Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State leads top military officers to lay wreaths at the statue of the unknown soldier in Asaba, the capital. The day was also observed in Akwa Ibom State, with Governor Emmanuel Udom laying the wreath. In Lagos, southwest Nigeria, the Deputy Governor, Idiata Debule, leads senior officers and dignitaries in the state to honor the fallen heroes. Speaking after, a member of the Legion asks for more support from the state government.
We thank God and we thank this state government that they are helping us. They are helping our boys. We always appreciate what they are doing for us, but they should try more.
It's the same scenario in Ekiti and Oyo states, where Governor Abiola Ajimobi of Oyo State called on every Nigerian to work towards credible and violent-free elections in the country.
Let us make sure we continue to sacrifice for Nigeria. And in sacrificing for Nigeria, we maintain peace.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day is an annual event to celebrate those who fought valiantly for the peace of the nation. And the governors are saying that efforts of these men should always be appreciated and those alive should be encouraged.
And while the nation comes together to remember their heroes and honor them, spouses and children left behind do not feel honored as they constantly have to struggle through days and months to eke out a living. Our correspondent Ibrahim Adra reports.
Their faces tell much of the story as they watch members of the military family go through an all too familiar drill to honor their departed breadwinners. Men and women who pay the supreme price. Their spouses may have died under different circumstances, but these widows are united in their grief and pains. In spite of coming under the umbrella of Military Widows Association, not much has changed in their fortunes.
Many people will come.
Juliet Ada, a mother of two, opens up on her travails.
The widows are really suffering. Even with the children, when they're out of school, no job for them. They're just roaming about.
School fees is very hard now. Now I have to pay my children's school fees 200,000. I'm just going up and down. I can't sleep.
Government should do something about we widows. We have children. We have children. When they're supposed to have something to do in house, they don't finish school. Nothing to do. Please, I want to help us.
The story of neglect and unpaid entitlements cuts across the states. At events like this and during the launch of emblems, appeals are made to seek support for the legionnaires and widows. Such assistances are said to be channeled to coffers of the legionnaires The widows, however, insist they do not benefit.
Religion will not give widows anything. So we are tired of the suffering, please.
Up to now, I don't know how. Whether they have collected the money, I don't know.
So where then lies the problem?
I think there's a communication gap. I think the Legion and the military widows need to work hand in hand.
It's another colorful yet solemn event. Now, for the widows who are left behind and other dependents, this ceremony will only make meaning if assistance reach out to them from either government, public, or private organizations. From the National Arcade in Abuja, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
In part 2 of the break, we examine some of the challenges the military is up against in its efforts to keep Nigeria secure. I'll be joined by a retired military officer, Major General Cecil Esekaigbe. That's in a moment. Do stay with us.